Welcome to episode 9 of the Basement Boys podcast. Today is Cinco de Mayo. Hola, amigos.
Muy bien.
There's our
What does that
Spanish
mean?
knowledge. Very good. You just said very good to me saying hello. Anyways, Chase, we just had a weekend that occurred. How'd your weekend go?
Pretty great weekend. Played a couple rounds of golf. My brother asked me to be his best man in his wedding, so we tied one on. Today's been ugly. I don't know if I'm on a 2-day hangover or if I got a little food poisoning or something, but it's been an ugly day, man.
Yeah, I feel that. I've been tired all day. I just tried to watch the Last Dance Jordan documentary finishing up for the episode, and I was just in and out of sleep. But Trunk, how was your weekend there, big guy?
Well, Chase, it sounds like a great weekend. Congrats to your brother. But I had a good Friday. I got out on the golf course, and then I got a little too tuned up Friday night. I said some stuff I shouldn't have said on the Xbox. But other than that, it was a great weekend. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it was fun. Saw Chunk for most of the weekend. Got a couple rounds of golf in. Just chilled. Did whatever. So, good weekend. Not a lot happened in sports. So, trying to write up this episode, I was like, what the fuck can we talk about? But there wasn't much to talk about. Last post we had on our social media was referring to our last draft series. We did Best Time to Have a Beer. Chase did a very good job with the video there. We got a poll in results. I think there was about 30 votes. And Chase crushed us this time with his best time to have a beer. Apparently, nobody wants to have a beer after a war. Not sure what their mindset is there, but
I think that's just a little difficult for people to relate to, maybe.
that could be it. Yeah. So we're gonna try to have another draft series this Friday. There'll be a little bit more sports to talk about as we have the Korean Baseball League tonight. Not that we follow that. We're Chinese guys all the way. We love our Chinese. And then we've got.
We're not actually Chinese people. We're American people, but
yeah, we love the Chinese people. Maybe not their government and their baseball teams. But speaking of that, the Japanese murder hornets came over to Washington. They're these big bees, kind of just kill bumblebees. You guys did a lot more research than I did. First sighting of them in the States. It's just showing how 2020 has gone. Chase, what was your research here on the Japanese murder hornets making their way over?
yeah, unreal year it's been already, as if we weren't already dealing with a global pandemic. UFOs, actually, I don't know if you guys saw that, but the Pentagon released some UFO footage, actually confirmed it. And now we have hornets that are murdering people. So it's just been a terrible year so far. And a lot of it seems to come from that half of the world, but we won't get into that. These hornets are like 2 inches, and they're 2 inches big, so pretty big bugs. And I guess they're really bad for the honeybee colonies. Eric, you're telling us that they could wipe out whole colonies in one fell swoop. I actually saw a video online where some Japanese honeybees are building a defense to them by where they rub together super quickly, like all right surrounding the hornet, and it'll like cook it alive.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. They can't like sting it with their stingers because the hornet's like exoskeleton is so hard that they just like cook it from the inside out. So that's pretty wild, I thought.
That is unreal. You saw a video of like Coyote Jack or some guy he just allowed it to sting him on the arm.
Yeah, apparently one sting like can't kill you. It has to be like 20 or 30 stings from these things to kill a human. But this guy just stings himself on the arm like on purpose, and his whole arm just swells up, and he's like convulsing. He's like up in the mountains and just laying there by himself, like convulsing.
So I forgot what his name was. I heard it on Jim Rum. They was talking about him, but his name's like Coyote Jack or something. And he just allows like all these different types of bees to just sting him. And he just like he starts off and goes, "This is Coyote Jack. Welcome to the sting zone." And then he just like gets stung by a bee. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? But Chunk, you did a little research too. Is there anything that differed from Chase that you'd like to bring to the table here?
No, not really. Chase hit it on the head, but it'd be awesome to study like honeybee war, like how they defend themselves, or like how bugs go into battle. So that's kind of a cool point. Yeah, but I saw that picture of that the UFC fighter that got the shit beat out of her. Her hand was like she looked like Invader Zim or whatever, and she was just massive. But that's what happens to you. It'd be kind of cool to see somebody get stung.
Yeah, that Coyote Jack guy, apparently his arm is just like still like just fucked up, super pink and big. But yeah, because the bees interest me. They've got like the queen bee and stuff, and they save all the plants and they pollinate. That's what they do, right?
Yeah, apparently the whole like if bees go down, the world is like screwed. I was reading something about that too, where like the bees are the I don't know what you call it, ecosystem. They're like the lifeblood of the ecosystem because they carry so much shit around and stuff. So
Yeah,
actually could be really bad.
they're vital.
Save the bees.
You ever seen a bee movie? There, it's a good one. Man, my eyes are red. I got like a Forrest Whitaker eye going on here. Not sure what's going on. Yeah, it hurts. But I was going to mention the UFOs, but Chase, you already touched on that. So yeah, they found footage from like 2015 and 2002, like these flying saucer things that the Navy caught on tape in like Michigan. It looks like just like this diamond that's just like rotating all weird. Did you see the video, Chase?
Yeah, I saw it. It's like a frisbee. It looks like a frisbee that's going like end over end, not like a saucer way, but like just going end over end. And apparently, there's been other UFO sightings from like celebrities or people who put on their Instagram stories. And Elon Musk is creating this thing called like the global link, where it'd be like Wi-Fi across the whole world. So like you can just connect to that. Nobody has to have their own Wi-Fi. And apparently, there's lots of like spots of that, but yeah, the Pentagon actually came out and released footage and like said that there are. They called it something else. They didn't call it a UFO. They called it like a unidentifiable aerial
spacecraft or something like that.
So, yeah.
I remember I listened to like the briefing or heard the statement or whatever it was on that. Yeah, that was interesting. The Navy guys were like, "Holy fuck, what the fuck is that?" Like, you think they'd be like all proper and stuff, like military terms, but they're just swearing, and it was interesting to see. We move on to another extraterrestrial person himself. Nicolas Cage is the new Tiger King. Did you guys see that? Is he gonna be? He's gonna be playing the main role in the movie with the Tiger King.
Yeah, he's gonna be Joe, which I think is that dude's crazy enough for that to be a good fit. I think he might just go absolutely overboard with it.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Chunk, your take on that?
I had no idea. That's news to me. I fucking hate Nick Cage. I think he's a terrible actor, but we'll see how it goes.
He's super bad. I think he just tries to be as crazy as possible, and sometimes it works. Like National Treasure slaps. I like those movies.
National Treasure is a great movie, but like go back and look at how bad he is as an actor in that movie. It's awful.
He's almost so bad you just want to like watch him more and more to see like how freaking bad he actually is as an actor.
Yeah, it'll be cool to watch because it'll be interesting to see these other celebrities play them. And we already all watched, like everyone's watched the documentary. I've heard so many people talk about it. And so we'll all have this perception going in of what those people already like. So it'll be kind of weird to see how accurate it is, bringing it over. I never watched the after shows of Tiger King. Did you guys watch those?
Bad.
What did they talk about? Was it just like, oh, this is all fake, or like, what did they do?
Well, Joel McHale hosted it and just asked some questions. He basically just like roasted everyone. It was in a Zoom like this, and I think they just did it because it blew up so much. It wasn't like already part of the documentary, and yeah, I don't know. There was nothing like really that great in it.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's just a few little tidbits we just wanted to throw in there before we get to our interview here with Brandon Christnovich. We got a great interview. 2-time national champion, 6-time All-American, team captain. I'll bring it up in there. Trackster from UW Eau Claire, Division III. Just a great guy, good interview. Here's our interview with Brandon Christnovich. All right, here's our interview with Brandon Christnovich, former UW Eau Claire track athlete, 2-time national champion, 6-time All-American, and team captain. 6-time All-American. So I said that to Jason. He was like, did he go to college for 6 years? But that's different events. Right?
Yeah, so how college track and field works, there's a winter season and a spring season. You get to double a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I was trying.
Quick pause and say, I'm happy to hear, boys. I'm a fellow basement boy this year, so it's an honor to be on the pod. How we all doing?
We got a lot of them. We're growing by numbers. We're growing.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Brand, you graduated last year. Your last year of track, and college was last spring. What's
Mhm.
life kind of been after college track? Do you have that itch to get out there? I guess whatever you want to talk about. What's it like? You're currently studying, or no, you just got accepted into medical school. So what's life been after college and track?
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird year here, but it's been good kind of doing stuff I never had the chance to during track. Definitely miss being with the boys. My body appreciates being done out. It's getting pretty beat up by the end of the road there. But in this off year, I've gotten into the weights a little bit, seeing you guys at the good old YMCA. That's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it sucks that it's not freaking open. I mean, we'd grind it out there. Had a lot.
Yeah.
It definitely is kind of a bummer seeing it close down still, obviously for the right reasons. But you're currently actually training for a half marathon. How does that go? Do you do daily routines or do you switch it up every few days, or what's that like training for a half marathon?
Yeah, kind of figured with everything being shut down here, I'd try a different avenue of fitness. I've never really gone down, so doing the long distance thing. Have a training program that's one long run a week, a couple faster runs a week, and then a couple chill days. So pretty manageable so far. Good to get outside and whatnot, and we're doing okay.
Yeah, I started my own little thing. I am not a long distance or a runner by any means.
No, it's tough.
I follow you on Strava, and you kill me with your times and stuff. But I've been trying to run 100 miles for the month of May, and I just got up to 14 miles through 4 days. So I feel pretty proud of myself. But
sheesh, I see you.
My calves are hurting. How do I just stretch them out, or what do I do there to prevent future calf injuries?
Yeah, definitely got to hit the rolling and stretching. That's something that's pretty easy to push off, but definitely pays off in the long run. So
yeah. So you got to see a lot of probably friends that had their track seasons cut short this year. And they're canceled, right? Like there's not going to be a track season this year, obviously.
Yeah, they are officially done. I believe they still have eligibility if they have time to come back next year, but with school and everything, that's kind of tough. So, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of putting yourself in their shoes. How would you have felt if like your senior year kind of was cut short? Don't have to get too deep on it.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it's all good. I was pretty heartbroken for the guys. They were a day away from competing at nationals this spring, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they were ranked first in the nation, trying to go back to back for the title, and they got canceled. So I can't imagine how tough that was to swallow. And being there, I know that'd just be heartbreaking. So I feel for those guys.
Yeah. So you won the national championship twice. Was it your freshman and senior year?
Yeah, I got pretty lucky my freshman year. I got to win a title very first season, and then my very last season, last May, got to go out on top. So kind of brought it full circle there.
Outdoor track or indoor track?
The first one was indoor track, and the last one was outdoor track. So
what was the parties like after that?
Oh boy, my freshman year, I thought I was the dude. We got back, and I remember showing up to the house party, and I was carried downstairs, like physically carried into a keg stand, and it was a nuts night with a lot of good friends. It was a good time.
I bet. So we had your old ex-roommate Dalton Zamolik on a couple of weeks ago. Told me to ask you about your girl life after college. The bar scene there. What's it like moving back to lacrosse and seeing some of your hometown girls and some girls that you kind of haven't met?
I think Dalton was deflecting off himself a little bit on that one. If there's anyone you're going to ask about girls or girls with boyfriends or any kind of girls, that's Mr. Zamolik there. No, but it's been good. Like I said, it's college. I was pretty busy with studying for med school and track, so been having some fun this year with the boys for sure.
And with the girls, I guess. But that's a great answer there. He also told me he was kind of giving us some stock tips or whatever. He said that you're a big guy on Boeing. They've Warren Buffett kind of dismantled the whole airplane industry this past week. I don't know if you saw that. Is Berkshire Hathaway has stocks in the airline industry, and that's the one thing that Dalton was kind of high on in our interview.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully no one really. So, have you been in the stock market a bit?
Yeah, so right now I'm working as an EMT at Onalaska Urgent Care for Gunderson. And it's been pretty slow with people staying home, so I figured I'd use the downtime to try to learn some stuff I didn't know a lot about. They get into the stock game a little bit on Robinhood. I recommend that app if no one has it yet. It's a pretty solid app. Everything's free. But yeah, just trying to make my money work for me a little bit, and who knows, you can go to sleep and wake up $200+ in your bank account. So we're dabbling.
Yeah, love it, love it. So you move out to Colorado in, is it July or August, correct, for med school?
Yep, July start up school out there. So
you have a place set up yet?
Just signed a lease with a dude from Iowa. Actually, seems pretty cool. He played soccer in college, so you'd probably get along with him, Cam. So officially got a place. Only going to be a basement boy for a couple more months here. So we're almost there, I guess.
You show up and he tries to touch you. What do you do?
I don't know, man. We'll have to put that one by here. I don't know what the Iowa dudes are like.
All right. Well, thanks, Brandon. This was a great interview. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you on again soon before you move out and everything. I'm sure I'll see you around. Thank you so much for coming on today's podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate what you guys are doing, keeping the people entertained during these times. So keep up the good work.
Good interview with Brandon Christnovich there. Went to the same high school, grew up together. He actually was my senior year of football. He started tight end, caught some passes from me. So he was a good athlete. Football, track, those were his things, big lifter. So we move on to sports talk now. One of the only news that happened since our last episode was Andy Dalton recently signed a deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Chunk, I'll let you get your take off first on Andy Dalton to the Cowboys.
I think it's a good fit for both parties. He's a very good backup if Dak does go down, although in his 4 years in the league, Dak has not gotten hurt. Or 3 or 4 years, I don't remember. He hasn't missed a game. But if he does, Andy's a good backup. He actually lives in Dallas with his family, so they don't have to move this year. And if he gets any playing time and plays well, he'll have another job come after the season. I think it's a win-win for both.
Yeah, at first I was like, why would the Cowboys do this? But it makes a lot of sense from the Cowboys standpoint to me. Dak Prescott could sit out training camp and stuff. There's been talks that he could very well sit out. He got the franchise tag, and if he decides not to re-sign with the Cowboys next year, they got Andy Dalton thrown to those receivers and running backs. Andy Dalton never had the best talent around him since his first 4 years at Cincy. He brought him to the playoffs every year, so he knows how to win and stuff, and he's got a great first 5. Yeah, I was just comparing 4, but to Dak Prescott's first 4 years. But just watching Andy Dalton throw the ball, he's got an arm, good talent still. He could still provide in many different ways there for the Dallas Cowboys. Chase, fellow redhead, do you like this move for Andy Dalton?
Yeah, as a ginger in denial myself, I love to see this for the Red Rocket. Great move for him. Like you guys said, he's going back home, $7 million. That's pretty nice. I don't know. You guys think he could take the job from Dak?
We could see a situation like that where it happens, but Dak is just up and coming and promising. Not really up and coming his 5th year, but Chunk, what do you think?
I think it's possible, but I don't know. I think it's Dak's team. I think Jerry loves Dak. It's called Jack. But I think the only instance where he gets the job is if Dak goes down and Andy just plays super well. That's the only chance.
Yeah, true. I think the Cowboys are second best team in the NFC right now behind the Niners. You don't agree with that, Chunk? Let's hear it.
I disagree.
Who's second?
I'd take Minnesota over them. I'd still take Green Bay over them. Seattle over them.
Oh.
What defense? They didn't improve on defense at all. They got worse.
All right.
I got your boy Xavier McKinney.
Yeah,
I got my guy.
McKinney. All right. But yeah. Hopefully there's still a season. There's been a lot of protests and stuff, a lot of people in large gatherings that are kind of
baseball set some dates today.
Yeah,
we're in the day. We've been. It seems like all of us have been having a wash of a day, but yeah, they set some dates for spring training, and then they said July 1 opening day.
Yep. That actually moves on to my next part. June 10th, MLB Spring Training 2 opens up. I forgot. We didn't go over our pre-script before this. We just went into it. So sorry, my bad. You mentioned the UFO right before it happened, and you mentioned that. So, Chase, I don't know what's going on with you today. But
Telepathic over here.
when you're sick, you, like, turn into, like, MacGruber or whoever is, like.
Yeah, I've also just been ripping, like, half a bottle of Dayquil and NyQuil, like, mixing them back and forth all day long, so.
I thought you were going to say you've just been ripping half bongs.
Just big.
Like Chunk on a Tuesday night.
On a Tuesday night. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, but it's exciting. MLB June 10th, Spring Training 2. Stay-at-home orders now are kind of, it's hard to follow them with how nice it is, and you can't keep people at home for as much as you can. I think if they keep some of the business closes, restaurants and stuff, for a little bit, but to allow people to kind of have a little more flexibility, it helps. I don't know. I don't know the right answer to this situation. There's been a lot of people, I'll see it just driving by or something that are all together. I mean, everyone's already in grocery stores and gas stations. So, but I'm off a different tangent. MLB potentially back June 10th for spring training, July 1st for opening day. So does that mean they're just going to cut the season in half then, Chase? Or
I actually didn't read into it too much. So regular opening day is April 1st, normally?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
March, end of March, April 1st.
Yeah, I guess I didn't read into it too much, but it's really nice and kind of gives everybody some optimism or something to look forward to. At least one of our major leagues is being proactive and setting some dates here. So hopefully NBA is soon to follow. Hopefully it doesn't affect the NFL at all with anything. But if we see the NBA now kind of be a little more aggressive because the MLB was, I think we're getting close to the end of this thing.
Yeah, and I think MLB can do this with spring training because they do spring training in 2 different states, in Arizona and Florida. The thing with the NBA is tough that some states don't allow people to have like gatherings like that. Like say the Hawks want to have a practice, but they can't because their state doesn't allow it, but a team in like Texas wants to, and because their state is open now. It kind of gives a competitive disadvantage there. But Chunk, big baseball guy, are you excited for the new dates that were set today by the league's office?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm pumped. I'm just excited for any live sport to happen. So I'll probably be watching some spring training games, so you want to call it. But I'm jacked up for this Korean baseball game tonight. I'm gonna tune into that. I am so excited. I'm gonna bet on it. I don't even care. I'm gonna throw some money around.
Love it. What teams are playing? Do you know?
Not a clue. I got to do some research yet, but I'm just gonna pick the home team by 2. I don't care.
Yes. Just by 2. Love it. But yeah, it's exciting. Chunk, so you haven't been watching a lot of live sports. We've been watching a lot of recorded sports. You've been watching a lot of the naked bed wrestling on your phone recently, haven't you?
You can say that. I think once an episode, you got to try to bring up my porn addiction.
Oh man, we should clip that. we all fight it, but we just decide to go after Chunk. I like to get ahead of the curve. Usually it's right away in the episode, but I just waited for it.
Yeah, he probably just got to a point where he's like, oh yeah, he didn't bring it up this time, and then right when he got over the hump, he just
exactly what happened. Fuck.
Well, you thought it was clear, but more kind of not a live sport, but event. I mentioned it before. On Thursday, I'm going to be tuning in to ESPN. The NFL schedules will be released, kind of show you the blueprint of what to move forward. As I think the scheduling is huge. It plays a lot of advantages. Where you play and when you play teams in the season. Like think about last year, if we didn't play the Chiefs and while Mahomes was hurt or anything like that, Raiders while they're hot, we may not be the same team as we were. But so it'll be interesting. It gives people a lot to look forward to. A lot of predictions we made about schedules and future rankings. I'm one of them that likes to put on the schedule and mark down win or loss, even though it's fucking May, about certain teams. So that'll give us something to talk about Friday. Are you guys jacked up about the NFL schedule? Chunk, I'll start with you here. I know you are.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I love when the schedule comes out. I love making predictions. I'm mark it down right now. Thursday night, that opening night, September 10th, is either going to be Packers, Niners, or Chiefs, Raiders. Mark it
Ooh.
down.
All right, marking it down.
What if it's not?
You get to chop
I'll
your
film
nuts
the
off.
next. I wasn't going to say that, but I'll film the next episode with my right nut hanging out.
Probably can't do that. But
All right.
yeah. Maybe we should make a bet. Maybe you should just like film while you're in the shower or something on the shitter.
The whole time?
Or just like go in the shower just with fully clothed and take a shower. Put soap on you.
Okay. Take a 5 minute. I get yelled at for taking long showers, so it'd have to be quick, but I'll do it.
Why do you take long showers?
I like to sit in the warm water, jackass.
Yeah. But I'll be tuned in. I like those predictions though, actually. The Chiefs Raiders could open it up in Las Vegas there. Big welcoming, defending Super Bowl champs. But if they have the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs will be home, so they do like to kind of ring banner ceremony. Chaz?
Over under on Buccaneers primetime games this year. I'm putting it at 10.5.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll take the under.
It'll be around 8 or 9. I remember a couple of years ago, the Niners got 9 2 years ago when they had Jimmy G go off for that.
Like the Patriots had a shit ton last year. Yeah, the
Browns
Niners
had a lot last year. That was
the Browns. It's any of these teams that make a big splash, they get every single primetime game.
Yeah, it's always the
The
big.
Browns had 3.
What's that?
I'm sorry. The Browns had like 3 last year. I don't see any team getting over. Fuck.
The Browns did not have this 3. They had more. They had Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday nights. They had to flex them out because they were bad. But I could see the Buccaneers will be that team that will get a lot of primetime games this year. Chiefs, Cowboys, obviously, Packers, Steelers, the big teams. Patriots probably won't get that many.
See the Giants getting a lot.
Giants, yeah, big market teams usually do. LA teams, Vegas probably will. You're gonna see the Seahawks. But we're just naming off teams here now. I feel like.
We just named off like half the leagues.
Yeah, basically. It'll be interesting to see the schedule and who they select in that. And then Thanksgiving, I like to look forward to that, see if Packers get a Thanksgiving game. We haven't had one in a few years, have we? Since the Bears when we lost for Favre's ceremony. Yeah, so we haven't had one of those in a while. But so yeah, that was a little sports talk. Now we have Rate the Take with our fellow ice dancer, Chaz Michaels.
What did you just say? Just call me a Buxton.
Box cancer.
What did you say?
All right, Case, take it away.
All right. Yeah. So Rate the Take is the 3rd time we've been doing this one now. We got 3 of them today. 2 sports ones. We'll start out non-sports. And since it's May the 4th be with you, we have a Star Wars take. I know you guys are big Star Wars fans. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so we might not get a whole lot of variation here. But on Twitter, I saw this. It's just popped up on the feed somehow. Trevor, at Trevor the Sith, tweeted in all caps, really pissed off. All of Disney Star Wars is bad. Kathleen Kennedy ruined my childhood. Disney is an evil corporation. Monopoly. If you like Disney trilogy, you're a boy snowflake. But I like Rogue One and The Mandalorian.
I like Rogue One.
Look, Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm once Disney bought Lucasfilm, who made all the Star Wars movies. So just taking out his wrath on her. Trevor the Sith pissed off at Kathleen Kennedy. Like I said, you guys are big Star Wars fans. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Do you guys like the Disney Star Wars, the latest trilogy, and then also Rogue One, Mandalorian, I guess? Or do you think they didn't live up to where the first 6 were setting everything up? Cam, we can start with you.
As a new Star Wars or newer generation Star Wars fans, not the old one, I do like it. There's a lot of old Star Wars fans that just hate everything new about it. Think that they just ruined the whole series, but I don't get it. I grew up with the ones with like the Phantom Menace and those. The what's that called? Prequel or prelogy?
Yeah.
Prelogy, is that a word?
Trilogy.
Trilogy? I don't know. It's not a word, but I grew up with those. I like it. Mandalorian's creative, really good. I like how they're kind of building off everything. Rogue One was extremely good, really good ending. Chase, did you ever watch that? I keep telling you to watch that, but you won't.
No, yeah, I watched that before I watched the newest trilogy. So I was super late to Star Wars. I started watching them all like 2 years ago, or like a year ago, year and a half ago, year and 9/12 ago.
Yeah.
And and I actually think Rogue One is my favorite one. It's not like in the same storyline as the rest of them, I guess, off of it, but like super sick how they just take a little piece of the puzzle of the whole story and kind of expand off of it.
Yeah. The ending is fucking amazing in that one too. And Darth Vader's like through the.
It's so sick because in those first 6, it's such like shitty. You can almost say it's like shitty acting and like shitty graphics. At least like the fighting choreography is like super shitty. But then to actually like see it in this day and age and Darth Vader just like going ape shit, it's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't like this take by this guy. Seems weird that he's calling people snowflakes over Disney. And I guess Walt Disney, he wasn't. He hated Jews.
There's I've watched some like conspiracy videos on how he's a Nazi sympathizer and like all this stuff, and there's some like crazy symbols like in all the movies like to Jews and stuff. Yeah, just
isn't his body like frozen or something?
Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Really? No, I don't know. I always thought, you know how the symbol is his like signature?
Yeah.
I always thought like the D was like a backwards G, because that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
So I thought it was Walt Disney.
All right, Chunk, what's your take on this take?
Fuck you, Trevor. The newest trilogy is awesome. But going back to that Rogue One, that ending scene with Vader gives me chills every time when he flips that lightsaber on and comes out. It's so badass. The acting is so much better in the new trilogy. But think back to number 4 when Ben Kenobi is fighting Vader and how bad that lightsaber scene is.
Yeah.
That is
like, he like taps him on the shoulder and then his cloak just like goes up and drops to the floor. So fucking bad.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. And to go back to Walt Disney, I just looked up his frozen body, and I believe it is frozen. This is hilarious.
Where is it?
They're waiting for like science.
I'm gonna have to do some more research on that one. But yeah, there's some crazy pictures here. I have to look them up.
It actually shows them.
No, they're all like photoshopped, but there's a lot of talk about him being frozen somewhere.
That's wild. That's like actually a thing.
Yeah, I was just kind of throwing a shot in the dark because I thought I saw something on Family Guy about it, but apparently it's true. So that's where I get my source. Pretty credible podcast, I guess.
He was a pretty crazy bastard, I guess, so I wouldn't put it past him. All right, so for the second one, we transition back to the sports world. These last two kind of relate to The Last Dance. Michael Wilbon yesterday said on Get Up on ESPN, there's no one now who would have dominated the 80s and the 90s. No one. Not even as great as Katie and LeBron are. They're not dominating anybody back then. So that I think is absurd. The athletes now are just like so much better, so much more athletic. The game has changed so much. Kevin Durant back in the 80s or 90s was pigeonholed as a center because he's 6'11", might even be 7 feet tall, and he's just an absolute sniper from deep. So someone like that back then is just totally over the head of anyone else, I think. People saying like LeBron couldn't handle the Bad Boys Pistons or like the physicality of the game is absolutely absurd. He's I think just a freak athlete. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Are you along the same lines as me, or are you with the old heads here on this one?
I agree with you, Chase. I think that a lot of players today, I think every single All-Star today would go in and dominate the 80s and 90s. But I do agree with Wilbon in the fact that I think today, physically and mentally, people are weaker. They're softer. They maybe couldn't take the wear and tear like the Bad Boy Pistons would wear down a lot of players, but they would dominate in skill set and all that. So I think it's a terrible take.
I think Michael Wilbon has a lot of bad takes most of the time. Well, he's a big Bears fan, so I see his shit. He blames everything on the refs and stuff. When like Bears games are going on, he live tweets everything. I think he just has bad takes all the time. But I can see from the standpoint if those players grew up back then and had the same training regimens and stuff as everyone, obviously they would be with that group. They wouldn't be like where they are today because everything's different nowadays. How athletes are prepared and trained and groomed to grow up to be. So I can see that. But I think they would just absolutely dominate. You saw LeBron in the 2000s even kind of dominate there with nobody else on his team. He didn't win any championships, but like he was in the Eastern, he was in the finals multiple years. Faced juggernauts and like the Spurs and other teams like that. So I just think that's a bad take by Michael Wilbon.
Yeah, Chunk, I do like what you said about the way that people are physically and mentally now. I think mentally, NBA players especially are a lot weaker, and everybody's so buddy-buddy. Physically, I don't know. You got the whole load management thing, and I think that's all just for longevity. You see careers are so much longer now than they used to be. Like MJ only played 14, 15 years, and he had some weird retirements and all this. But you see guys like LeBron and Kawhi who will take games off so they can play a longer career. And they have such longer seasons. Like LeBron went to the finals 8 years in a row. So I think it's a totally different game. But to say that these guys couldn't hold their own back then is absurd. So lastly, from The Last Dance, we saw they kind of brought up MJ's gambling problem as they portrayed it. And MJ in his interview said he doesn't have a gambling problem, but a competition problem. It's a competitive thing. And there's even the story about how he would play cards on the bus for big money. And there was once when he went up to the guys who played for like $1 hands. They played blackjack for $1 hands. He went up just to play with them. And they're like, why would you want to play with us? You never play with us. We're not playing for that much money. He goes, I just want your money in my pocket. So I think it was always this power thing. I always wanted to win. You guys think gambling can be a competition thing, or is gambling? Cam.
I see where he's coming from. It is competition. You always want to win and stuff, but also I think gambling's gambling. Some people just want to make money quick. It's one of those things. They don't want to actually work for it or put it in safe investments like we've talked about in plenty of our podcasts, but they they want that money now and then by not having to do anything except click a button on a computer, make a pick, or in this case, I guess he's playing golf for it, so that makes sense. And that the way he was gambling, I guess, can be competition. It's golf, it's cards, it's stuff like that. But the thing that intrigued me, why the fuck were they playing $1 hand blackjacks? It's like $1 is like a couple cents to us, or $1 for them is like a couple cents to us. Like they're just got thousands, millions of money, millions of dollars, and they're playing for one hand. That kind of baffled me there, so I didn't get that.
Just for the love of the game, I guess. Really love blackjack. Chunk, I know you're a little bit of a gambling man. You're going to gamble on the Korean baseball game tonight. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think gambling is an addiction, but it's also a competition. Like I love going out on the golf course and playing with my buddies for money. It just adds more to the round. It keeps me more focused. But I mean, we're also drinking out there. Don't worry. And like playing poker, euchre for money, it just makes it more fun, more competitive. But then you get your people, like you scratch off people or the people that are just throwing constant money down, trying to make money off that. So it's an addiction and it's also a competition. And I think for MJ's sake, it was a competition. So I'm with him there.
Yeah, I see both sides of this. He got a lot of flack for that quote on Twitter, and I didn't really agree with any of it. So yeah, that's all we got for Rate the Take this week.
All right, thanks, Chase. Now we bring it down to The Last Dance, episodes 5 and 6 aired on Sunday. It kind of started out, they did their little Kobe tribute there. Very sad to see that. It was cool to see Michael call him a little Laker boy. Do you like that, Chase?
That was so funny. It's just like any chance he could take, he'd demean someone.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was sad hearing Kobe talk about how he was like, MJ was like a big brother to him, and he took a lot of his game from him, as you can see. And there's many clip montages of them playing and just similarities there. But then they went right into the dream team. That scrimmage that they had, arguably one of the best scrimmages or games played ever. Showed the competition there. Did you guys think that was the passing of the torch from, I guess Michael already won his second ring, but from Magic and the Lakers to Michael Jordan, the NBA, they realized that this guy is just the shit, and those other guys can't even touch him anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
All right, sorry. I think for sure. I mean, he single-handedly beat him. Like, he got pissed off and he went out and beat him. I love that. I think it was passing the torch. It was weird that it happened in an Olympic practice.
Yeah, do it with all the best guys in the world on the court. Kim, you kind of said it, but that's probably the purest game of basketball that was ever played, like in the history of time. All the best players from the best Olympic team of all time, arguably. But yeah, they said Magic went out and still tried to be dominant, and he was super vocal and chirping everybody, and he was still trying to say, I'm still Magic Johnson, I'm still here, part of the great Lakers teams. And that's just when everybody else realized, this is probably the best guy on the court at all times. I thought it was funny too, they had that clip where they're standing walking into the hotel, and they're like, if someone's got to take the last shot, who's taking it? And he just looks at him, he goes, what a stupid fucking question. I am.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Ahmad Rashad there, which did you see that tweet I sent you with the group in his wedding?
With O.J. Simpson and Bill Cosby is his best.
And then he commented and he was like, at the time, I didn't know anything about that or something.
Yeah, you just got to hold the L on that one.
They were just as good friends and two of like really great people. But kind of going into after that, it talked about his gambling and golf. We talked about that already. We don't really have to touch much on that. But dude was married to the golf game and the gambling game. You think you guys would just got fed up with that if you were Michael at that time? He was portrayed as this perfect human being, and people are just trying to find anything to kind of get some dirt on. Kind of like LeBron nowadays. Shunk?
I think it's kind of bullshit that they're trying to find ways to just. He was a good human. Sorry, I was researching Walt Disney here and I got sidetracked. He's actually buried under the Lord of the Rings ride at Walt Disney World.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I'm so sorry for the sidetrack there, but there's so many people that gamble and play golf and just live their own life. Let the man be.
Yeah, I know when we were watching it, when we got to the commercial break after that point, my dad, he's like, I kind of forgot about this, but I remember when during his reign and everything, and towards when all that was happening with the gambling, he's like, everyone thought the media was going to push him out, that he was just getting so worn down that he was constantly surrounded by media all the time, and they were always trying to find something to tear him down. Like Eric said, he was just like he had this like perfect image that was so carefully crafted, and they just grabbed onto that and tried to drag him down with that.
Yeah, I agree. That's just way too much to go into it. Then that book came out and everything, the Jordan rules, and it just kind of shot him down just to make him look like this less than who he was. Because people live, like they mentioned, people live for the rise and fall of like dynasties, empires, and stuff like that. Once teams are doing well and stuff, they love to see them just come crashing down. So then it went into the Phoenix Suns series. Oh, no, it talked about the Clyde Drexler series. Sorry, my timeline's all off here. But the interesting part I took away is that he was playing cards with Magic Johnson the night before Game 1. That was kind of weird. Magic Johnson was an NBC guy. I didn't know that they were that close, but they seemed to be pretty close from when they were talking at the All-Star game and during Dream Team practices and stuff. And he said that he's going to take it to Clyde. It was interesting because he just was always compared to Clyde Drexler, but he just wanted to outshine him and not even be close in comparison. Chase, what'd you take from that kind of series there?
Yeah, that's another example we see of his like killer instinct. And if he's even compared to someone, he's just, like he said to Magic, he's like, you don't want to see what I'm going to do to this guy tomorrow. Then he goes out and has the shrug game. Just absolutely insane. And then, we saw that he was playing cards with Magic. And then earlier, I think it was one of the first episodes, he's out playing golf with Danny Ainge during that playoff series. And that was the game before that he had 63. And he told Danny Ainge to, watch this tomorrow. He goes out and just absolutely dominates. So, like learning about him through this, I think he would do that stuff, hang out with like other people right before games and all this, just to like call it and be like, I'm going to go do this. And then he goes and does it. Just like it's part of his dominant nature, I think.
Yeah. It was interesting. Suns, their series against Phoenix Suns, they show there in 93 where they won their third championship. It made me respect Charles Barkley a lot more as a player. Dude kind of dominated for his own team there. He didn't have a lot of help. Got to get 2 games out of it, but he just mentioned, he's like, I have no shame in losing to Michael, I guess. And there's a good quote there where he said, it was the first time in my life where I felt like somebody was better than me at basketball. That was Michael Jordan. That's just how dominant he was. Chase, what did you take away from that Suns series, I guess, watching that back in 93?
Yeah, I love Charles. They had him on SVP afterwards too to talk about it, and he's just such a like cool, down to earth guy. It sounds like he has marbles in his mouth all the time when he's talking, but he's awesome.
Try to talk like him.
I don't even want to try that.
Chunk, you try it.
I don't really care. Nah, I just fucked that up, didn't I?
No, this was the first time in my NBA career that I felt like there was somebody better than me on the court.
That was really good.
But yeah, some people are trying to say that Draymond Green is better than Charles Barkley, and that just proved all of them wrong there. Fucking Draymond. But do you guys have any other nuggets or anything from the Last Dance?
I got one thing. I think like Charles Barkley kind of reminds me of Russell Westbrook on the year that he was alone in OKC. Like what Russell did was incredible to win that many games and take that team to the playoffs. Like that's overlooked, and that reminds me of what Charles Barkley did for his whole career. Chuck was awesome.
I like that take. So yeah, Last Dance episodes 7 and Chase, you have something? Sorry.
Just my last word. Dennis Rodman, I don't know where they pulled up, but I think they're on a road trip, and they're all like going and hopping in the pool. And Phil was like, Dennis, you can come hop in the pool with us. He's like, hell no, I'm going to Hooters to see some titties and ass.
Does he just sit down there like? Yeah, that was interesting.
There's no shame about it.
So episodes. So that was 5 and 6. 7, 8 are next week, and then there's 10 episodes, right, total. So we have 2 more weeks left. So next week Sunday we'll recap that on next week's episode. Our next episode will be airing on Friday. We have Music Monday next Monday, and then we're back Tuesday and Friday next week. I don't really have any shout-outs. Do you guys have any shout-outs today?
Shout out the nurses.
The nurses. Shout out to Chase's brother again for getting married and Chase being the best man. I know he's going to give an awful speech because just kidding. Then, yeah. Chunk, any shout outs for you?
I just one more time want to say fuck you, Trevor. Awful take.
Yes, love it. So thank you guys for listening. Keep sharing with friends, everything. Go on our social media. YouTube will have these clips up. I'll get started on that. So thank you guys so much for listening, and have a great afternoon.